Welcome back to Keep It Real Boxing. You're listening to Cypherbox. So, Luis Ortiz plans to fight 3 times in 2019 in the hopes of getting another title shot. Okay, so his managers basically said in this article that they're looking to fight on March the 2nd at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. And that opponent looks like Christian Hammer. Yeah, he's gone on and talked about, like, you know, a lot of things in the article, saying that, look, certain fighters don't want to fight Luis Ortiz. We know that. At the end of the day, he's got to fight what he can around him, and basically position himself in a position, put himself in a place where he can, you know, go for another title shot, you know, and take on the top fighters in the heavyweight division. Because we all know no one wants to fight Luis Ortiz, let's be honest. With exception to Deontay Wilder, of course, right? You know full well Anthony Joshua doesn't want it. Dillian Whyte doesn't want it. Yeah. Alexander Usyk, I think it was a couple of months ago, his team mentioned that they've been in contact with Luis Ortiz's team, and Luis Ortiz's team said no, they haven't. No one's contacted us. Yeah. I don't even think Tyson Fury would want that fight, to be honest with you. Yeah. None of the top guys are going to want that fight. We know that. Yeah. You can say what you want. Yeah. A lot of people out there are going to turn around and think the usual, right? They're going to say, oh, Luis Ortiz is a bum. He's old. Yeah. Okay. They're going to say, oh, who's he fought? Yeah. Who's he fought? Who, you know, why does he deserve a shot against the top heavyweights? You know, he's not fought anyone. Okay. Well, it's a little bit hard to get those fights, yeah, if those fighters aren't willing to fight him. You're saying who's he fought, meaning what names has he fought in a division? Well, when the names in the division, like Dillian Whyte, like Anthony Joshua, for example, don't want to fight you, it's a bit hard to get those names on your record, isn't it? It's a contradiction there with what some of you guys are pushing out there. He's a bum, he hasn't fought anyone. Okay, but he needs to fight someone. So he needs to fight someone, right? So, Dillian Whyte, step up to the plate. You see what I mean? Anthony Joshua, he was Anthony Joshua's mandatory challenger at one point. Step up to the plate. Why didn't you take that fight? Okay, what makes me laugh about that whole situation with Anthony Joshua was, right? Luis Ortiz obviously failed the drug test against for high blood pressure pills, etc. he was using for that when the first fight with Deontay Wilder was scheduled. Yeah, that got called off. Yeah, and rescheduled later on down the line, of course. Yeah, a few months later. The WBA immediately put him on a ban. Was it a 12-month ban, I think? And they stripped him out of the WBA heavyweight rankings. And as far as I'm aware, he hasn't gone back. Actually, let's have a look. I don't think they've put him back in. Let me just bring up the rankings. Where are they? Hold on a second, guys. Here we go. So let's have a look. Did they put him back in? I haven't checked the rankings for a while. No, didn't put him back in. Haven't put him back in. Yeah? So they pulled him out, dropped him from their rankings, yeah, and he lost his mandatory challenger's position, of course, yeah, for Anthony Joshua. But the funny thing is, Alexander Povetkin, on the other hand, not a problem. Now, who remembers that whole situation with Deontay Wilder? So Alexander Povetkin and Deontay Wilder were supposed to fight in Russia. Alexander Povetkin fails a drug test. Deontay Wilder goes home. Now, Deontay Wilder was in the UK training at that time, and then he was going to go over to Russia. Yeah. But then he went back, turned back, went home. He thought, I'm not fighting this guy. This guy's a cheat. And he was a cheat. He tested positive. I don't care if it was trace elements or whatever. It was in his system. That's it. Okay. Then the WBC give him the benefit of the doubt, the whole legalities around it, all that sort of stuff. They kind of protected themselves, I felt, the WBC there. So they give him a shot against Bermane Stiverne, right, for a final eliminator for the mandatory position to take on Deontay Wilder, right? What does he do? He tests positive again. He tests positive for the Bermane-Stiverne fight. Proof in the pudding that he was a drug cheat. Yeah? You heard Tony Bellew screaming it when he fought David Price. He's on the juice, he's on the juice. Do you remember from ringside? He was even saying the same thing to when he fought Anthony Joshua. You could hear Tony Bellew, he's on the juice. You could hear him screaming it from the ringside. Yeah? But this guy comes back, right, after that situation where he tested positive for the Bermane-Stiverne fight. In 2017, he fights his Rudenko, fights Christian Hammer, then fights David Price and gets his shot against Anthony Joshua. Why wasn't he stripped out of the WBA's rankings? He failed 2 drug tests in a matter of months. Why wasn't he taken out of the WBA's rankings? Why wasn't he put on a hefty ban? I think he only got 6 months. He got a 6-month ban. That's all he got on the WBA, from what I understand. But he wasn't pulled out of their rankings. Why wasn't he stripped out of the rankings? See what I mean? You can see the politics in all of this, yeah? And that's down to, I reckon that's down to Eddie Hearn. Of course it is. Playing games there. Didn't want Anthony Joshua to fight him. Boom. Bye-bye problem when it comes to Luis Ortiz. But with Alexander Povetkin, yeah, he's happy to fight Alexander Povetkin. Easier opponent, isn't it? But, of course, you know, Luis Ortiz is a bum. He's old. He hasn't fought anyone. But Povetkin, on the other hand, oh my God, he's this great opponent, this great fighter, this great heavyweight. Such a tough test. Whatever. Look, at the end of the day, we know no one wants to fight him. No one wants to fight Luis Ortiz out of the top heavyweights, apart from Deontay Wilder, who already has fought him. And if should the opportunity arise again, he'll probably fight him in a rematch. But I think Luis Ortiz's team is right. You know, Luis Ortiz probably just needs to stop not calling them out, because I think that'd be the wrong approach. He should still call them out and expose some of these heavyweights for what they are at the moment. But what I do believe is that he needs to keep himself busy. Yeah, Christian Hammer, you know, he needs to fight the 2nd and 3rd tier fighters. That's what he's got to do. That's what he's got to do. No one's going to give him a voluntary shot at the titles. He's going to have to put himself in mandatory positions. But the downside to that is we've already seen Luis Ortiz put into mandatory positions, and we've seen what kind of games these promoters, these opposition promoters, and even these boxing commissions are willing to do. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand he failed a drug test and he got pulled out of the WBA's ranking, and they based that on the back in 2014 he failed a drug test. I'm not trying to defend that at all with Luis Ortiz. Yeah, I understand what they were doing. They said he failed in 2014 when he was holding our Intercontinental title. You know, he failed again now, you know, for his fight with Deontay Wilder. We're now going to ban him for 12 months and take him out of the heavyweight rankings. Fine, get it. But why didn't you do the same with Alexander Povetkin? Povetkin failed 2 drug tests in 7 months. Why didn't you do the same with him? Do you know what I mean? It's different rules for different fighters, depending on who your promotional team is as well. Do you know what I mean? It's hypocritical. Double standards, man. But look, like I said, I agree with it. He needs to keep himself busy. He's not getting any younger. So if he wants that shot, he's going to have to work his way up into mandatory positions to get those title shots. You know, let's hope there aren't any more issues with regards to failed drug tests as well, because that's not going to help his situation. Because I'm telling you now, some of these boxing commissions, like the WBA and all that sort of stuff, would love that, because then they should ban him again and kick it. You know, he hasn't even returned to the rankings. I swear his ban with the WBA was over. Do you know what I mean? He's not even back in the rankings. Povetkin failed 2 drug tests in 7 months, still in the rankings, and went on to fight Anthony Joshua. Do you know what I mean? It's just dirty politics in boxing. Simple as that. But look, I definitely agree with his team. They need to keep him busy. you know, at this moment in time, they're probably not going to get those fights, so they've got to keep himself busy and he needs to start working himself into positions, into mandatory challenger positions. All right, let me know what you think. As always, guys, as always, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this is Cyphbox reminding you to keep it real.